Hello and welcome to another episode of Property-Pxrn Stars, the premium property podcast brought to you by your host, David Lindley. And today I'm joined by a very special guest host, Marie Fritz of By Design Northamptonshire.
Hello.
And today our guest, our star, is none other than Alia Khan, who's
Hello.
also from By Design, but the Managing Director of By Design in Leicestershire.
Yeah.
Joe, it's really nice that we're able to do this, and it's kind of been fortuitous in the way that our diaries have worked because we just did a recording episode with Simon Ledbetter. But Alia, right from the first time I was talking to you, I remember saying, I can't wait for you to meet Marie.
Yeah.
Because you two are so similar, you're just these unstoppable personalities. I was like, yeah, you two are going to get on really well.
We're very similar. We're very, very similar in a lot of ways. Professionally, personally, but yeah.
Well, it's amazing to have you on here. Thanks so much for coming. So let's dive into it then. Let's start at least about your journey into the premium estate agency world. And starting a maybe strange question, but you said something to me a while ago and it kind of stuck in my mind. I wonder whether this will lead on to how we end up in a estate agency in a different manner. But you said I was always the black sheep in my family. And I thought, I didn't know what you meant by that. I didn't ask you at the time. Almost bookmarked it for today to ask you now.
On air.
On air. No stress.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that? And how has the answer to that question taken you to your role in premium estate agency?
So what I meant by that was, and family, if you're watching, I meant it very positively, in a more successful, sophisticated way. I meant, so I've never wanted to work for someone. I've never wanted to do a 9-to-5 job. It's just, I've never been passionate. Had I ever done it, I wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes. I hate being told what to do. I've always had a vision. So I've always just wanted to get stuck into something, do the numbers myself, sort of buy, sell. I've been involved in a lot of businesses since the age of 17. So I've had that experience under my belt. I've always been looked at as over-ambitious, possibly a little bit of a liability in the sense of business, because I just go out and I just get it done and I just do it. And it could be an overnight decision in the snap of a finger and I'm doing what I always wanted to do. So that's what I meant by black sheep, is I just go into it. I don't really ask anyone. I just think about it. And if it's something I want to do, I can decide within an hour. And yeah, I don't let anyone put me off or steer me away.
Over-ambitious is a really interesting thing. You don't hear that very often, someone being over-ambitious. What do you mean by that?
So it's something that's been very common in my life, where I've always been expected to be a certain way, have a certain job, be married, have kids at a certain age, etc. Over-ambitious, because I never had a 9-to-5. I didn't have a normal life routine. I just went into business, and it's been 13 hours every day since then. So.
You are always on. I think you and I were on the phone at 10 o'clock on Friday. That's one thing I know about you, is you're always on. Yeah,
you could message me at 1 a.m. Some people would think, I'm not going to reply to that till the morning. No, don't reply right now. It's my personal time. But I can't do it. I have to reply. Even if a client's asking me, did you turn the lights off when you left for the viewing? I can't help it. I have to reply all the time.
You are a bit of an unstoppable force.
Yeah.
And so to give some context, and I probably should have done this, I did you a bit of a disservice because I didn't properly introduce you when we started the podcast like I do with most people, because we've got a strange setup today. But we are, as of today, I think probably 5 or 6 weeks in to you running your own By Design business. And I think you're getting on for £10 million worth of instructions that have been listed so far. And I know from our conversations, you're like, okay, that's a good start, but we're on from here. So you do move a million miles an hour.
I
do. So that's kind of your personality background. Then how did you get into estate agency? Talk us through that.
So how I got into estate agency, when I was young, it wasn't something that I came into straight away. And I'm going to be very transparent and blunt about it. I went to college, and from the age of 17, I think about 6 months into college, I thought, this is not for me. I cannot sit there and revise and do exams and listen to a teacher for so many hours. I just can't do it. No disrespect to those who can. I was just never... I wouldn't say I was an academic. I wasn't interested in opening a book. I just didn't want to do it. My mum used to tell me that when I was a very young child, probably under the age of 10, I used to question property. So when I used to see a for sale sign, I used to ask about the house, and I used to demand that they get the advert off, or go and buy the newspaper so I can circle the houses. And I used to study floor plans. I know it's really sad, but I used to do that. I remember when I was 16 and I was trying to get my first job, which was a part-time role. Don't laugh, but it was waitressing. We've all been there. So I was trying to get my first job, and they asked me, like, what do you... I don't know why they asked me this, because it was always going to be a temporary role, but they said, what do you aspire to be? Where do you want to be? And I was 16 years old, and I told them that I wanted to be a property investor or be the biggest real estate agent in the UK. So it's always been in my mind. So when I left college, I thought, oh no, where do I go from here? Because again, I just went on a whim and did it overnight. And I thought, where am I going to go? So I started applying for, Marie, you used to work for Connells. The first place I went to was Connells. And they didn't hire me because I didn't have many, many years of experience. So they refused to hire me, which was fine, because from there I went to another estate agency interview. They didn't want to hire me because I was too young, inexperienced. I kept getting the same thing. So I ended up going into IT, which was totally different. But obviously it paid the bills. So I just got into that. I loved it. I was in a senior position, but I got sick of it after 3 months because it was never what I wanted to do. So I left. Then COVID happened. And then I came across a really luxury estate agency, which is the company that I left. And I contacted the director and started up as a self-employed partner. And the area that I live in, I was able to, I think I brought on 11 listings within 2 weeks. And I sold a number of properties. I had a very high turnover in my first year. Second year came, third year came, I think fourth year came, and that's when I decided I can't do this anymore. I can't work under someone else's model. I can't use someone else's brand. I can't do it someone else's way, all the rest of it. I just wanted to do it myself. Now that I understand the industry, now that I know what goes on in the background with property, like conveyancing, how much care and attention clients need, especially at a premium level. Not in a bad way, it's just they do need a lot of attention. They just want an estate agent who's genuine, working from the heart, who's going to take care of their best interests and keep an eye on their listing at all times. They don't want to ring an office where it's 10 different people who are going to answer the phone. Oh, who's it going to be today? We're going to have to go round in circles, da-da-da. They always have a good service. But obviously at the previous company, it just got to a point where it was all about quantity and not about quality. Hence, I started this myself because I wanted to choose who I work with as opposed to them choosing me. It works both ways now. They have to choose me as much as I choose them, but it works beautifully now in the sense that I don't feel like I've got to win this listing. I don't need to play games and, overvalue and give really, really low fees. They're paying me for quality. They're paying me for my knowledge, and they trust the journey that they're going to be on. And that hopefully answers your question as to that's what got me where I am. I wanted to provide a quality service and be that go-to person that looks after their most important asset.
It's so funny because it's exactly what we've been talking about all day, you and I. And that's why you can charge the higher fees though, because you answering at, 1 a.m. Not everybody will answer at 1 a.m., but the fact that you are there for your vendors and they know they've got you directly, that adds value. They're going to pay more for that. So yeah, it's hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good answer.
A long answer, but yeah, we got it.
And so when you're in that role, you took on that many properties early on. I just talked about how much you've done in such a short space of time. You are a force of nature. So how do you do it?
I go to events. I'm nice to everyone. I know it sounds so basic, but it's not rocket science. It's just about being a nice person and having that trusted reputation. Being ethical is such a big part of estate agency. There's so many rumours out there, and I'm sure a lot of people watching, and you guys as well, agree. People create nasty rumours about estate agents. it's just a stereotype. The estate agent's always out to get you, whether you're a buyer or a seller. They just want to make money. They don't care. You're just a number. Whereas I'm here to do something different. There's a reason why I have a limited amount of listings that I'll take on every month, because I want to choose who I work with. I want to give them that quality. And yes, they're paying me that little bit extra, but they're actually maximizing on their sale. We're not just selling their home, but we're building a lifelong relationship, a friendship. So when someone invites me to an event and it's really boring and, you know, all the rest of it, I don't care what the event is. I will go. I will show my face. I will handshake with people. I will smile at them. I'll talk to them all night. It's just about building rapport. I could build rapport with Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith has got about 100 friends in the areas that I sell in. He'll go to another event after that one's over, and he'll start talking about me. You'll never believe who I met, talking about selling your house or getting a valuation. I just met this interesting estate agent named Alia. Give her a call and he'll have my business card and everything. So it all pays off, and that's what I've been doing, I would say, even before I started estate agency, since I was 17, 18. I just used to go to a lot of events and build rapport.
But that's the personal brand though, and that's where going into by design, doing it yourself and your own kind of license, that's what's important, is that personal brand.
Absolutely.
People do business with people, not with just, you know, a name. So that's why in real estate, the self-employed model is gaining a lot of popularity, because I think people trust those people more. They have that connection, they have the trust, and then you deal with that one specific person.
Coming back to something you said a second ago, you said ethical, and that's quite a broad-ranging word, I suppose. But ethical can mean having quite hard conversations with people. So what does that mean to you? How does being ethical play out in your day-to-day role as an estate agent?
So being ethical to me means, number one, which is again the most basic thing, but it's often so overlooked. People just get really excited and think, oh my God, they're being nice to me, so they must be telling me the truth. But no, I could be sitting there and smiling at someone, but telling 100 lies, and they'll think that I'm lovely, and I walk away thinking I've won the listing, but it's just sat there for however many months because everything I said in that initial meeting was a lie. That's unethical. And there's unfortunately a lot of agents out there that will work like that. And that's what I'm on a mission to do, is not be that agent who people ring to say, how much did this house sell for? Even though it's not on the land registry records, I'm not allowed to tell you what it sold for. Can you tell me what the other offers are so I can topple them? Or here's a bag of cash. I'll give you some cash. Take some cash. Go to Dubai. I'll do this for you. I'll do that for you. Get my offer accepted. I don't care about who you are, how much money you've got. All I care about is putting your name, your offer, your timescales, whatever, forward to my client. My client's going to make that decision. They're going to decide whether they're going to wait for you to sell your property to proceed. They're going to decide whether they want a 4-week transaction or a normal 12-week transaction. It's not up to me to do anything to snap my fingers and get your offer accepted. It's not what I'm here for. Equally, when I sell your house, this person's offering me money or whatever, or pushing my clients. Do you want your buyers to treat you that way? So it just works both ways. So there's a lot behind what I mean about ethical.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I understand that too, because a lot of times the law, just because it's in the law doesn't mean it's ethical or it's right. And I think as agents, there's a lot of us, or a lot of the stereotype of agents who will tell the vendor what they want to hear, not what they need to hear. They'll kind of bend the rules if it gives them a one-up. But being ethical and doing the right thing, just because it's legal does not mean it's ethical. So to have that boundary for yourself is quite important, because then you're able to allow your vendors that kind of trust of, she will look at me in my best interest. She won't just bend the rules because it suits her. So I think it does speak volumes to the type of person you are and the company you run when you can make those kind of more difficult ethical decisions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's such a shame, because it's like, obviously I can't say too much on this topic, but yeah, I've seen a lot of it to know that starting my own business is absolutely the right thing to do. You could work for the best company in terms of the best brand, but the person behind that brand. It's all about reputation. If your name gets mixed up with the wrong person, that's it. You're finished out there. You're not getting listings. And it's for the silliest reasons. You'll lose out on this amazing listing, amazing fees, 2% fees on 2 million, whatever. You'll lose out on that just because they don't want to work with someone who you're associated with within a big company.
Yeah.
And that's not right. That should tell you, if anyone's going through that should tell you it's my time to walk away, start my own thing, build my own reputation and pave the way and change the game. That's what you do. But
Yeah, perfect. Just to go a level deeper with something you said there. So you said earlier, like, two things in very kind of, you said it quickly, but it's a hard thing to balance. You said that I'm nice to people and I'm really ethical. And those hard, sometimes you have to have hard conversations still being nice to people. How do you balance that when you're telling a vendor something they don't want to hear? Maybe it's about their valuation or it could be anything. How do you manage that relationship through something that's difficult?
So, for example, I mean, I've recently had it where someone was being really, really harsh to me, honestly, to the point where they were effing and blinding because their offer hadn't been accepted. And I understood to the extent where I was like, okay, they love this house. They've always wanted it. They pass it every single day. I get it. But it's not my decision. It's the vendor's decision. And my vendors have hired me as their agent and paying me to take that stress away. So why am I going to go and tell them that you're effing and blinding and having, you're really upset, but you are effing and blinding and you're pushing them to accept your offer instead of the other offers when they've got higher offers. And how I wanted to maintain my relationship with that buyer, because I know that ultimately they're going to come back anyway in a week, 2 weeks, 2 years to buy something from me because I sell all the premium properties in my area. When they do come back, I want the relationship to still be good despite them losing out on a home. So how I dealt with them was I just said, put yourself in my vendor's shoes. It's reverse psychology. I mean, I know, again, it's very basic, but sales is all psychology. You just have to understand people. If you don't understand people and you deal with everyone exactly the same way, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to get walked all over if you do. You've got to alter the way you deal with people depending on who you're dealing with. You could be dealing with the nicest person ever, but you can't be too strict with that person or too direct to the point, because they might be a really good buyer for your property that you're selling, but they're not relating to you because you're too to the point. You're not building any rapport. So it's just changing that style with anyone who you're dealing with. I've had vendors that have decided not to instruct me or maybe blacklisted me from their phone because I gave them a realistic valuation, but then they've come back to me after, the most recent one I had, they came back to me after 11 months of marketing and that agent couldn't sell. And then I put it on the market and it sold within 2 weeks. And the person who brought the property lived around the block from me. And I don't know how much, you never really know with these things, but I think the name that he saw of the agent who was selling the property gave him that confidence that he could trust what they were saying. So if he was asking questions to the previous agent, what offer do you think I should give? And that agent was giving a figure, he's going to think, I don't really know this agent, or I may have heard X, Y, Z about so-called agent, and I don't trust what they're saying. I'm not going to offer. But then he's seen my name. He trusts me, we've got a great reputation, known each other for years, indirectly or directly. And I've said what he should offer, and he's made the offer. It's all about trust.
That reputation is worth its weight in gold. And they say it takes a lifetime to build a reputation, and it's dangerous because
a second to break it.
A second to break it, yeah. And that's why it's so important to have that standard that you've got of being ethical, because then you keep building that trust asset that people have.
Absolutely.
But what you said actually is another thing where we say you don't come into this business because you like nice houses. I like houses, I like architecture, I like, interior design, I want to be an estate agent. You come in this business because you like people and you know how to deal with people. And like you said, negotiation. Every person needs negotiation differently because whether some people you can speak very direct to and some people need that tough love and some people would fire you for it. So you need to be able to read people. You need to love people.
Absolutely. It's definitely, I would say estate, and Marie probably agree with me, and this is why we now do our own thing. But estate agency very much became this, well, it still is in a way in some places, not in our places. But it's very much what I'm wearing, what I've got. Look what I've got. I'm on social media. I want these followers. I'm going to jump in the pool in my swimming suit, whatever. I've had clients comment to me and say, I'm not going to allow my husband to go alone to view this property. Because why should they? Because what have they just presented in that video tour? They've shown the property, yes, but they've kind of missed the point. It's not a professional video tour. So yeah, there's a lot of things that leads to the trust element, your reputation, not being associated with the wrong kind of brand as well, and the wrong message especially.
Yeah, I agree. And so just talking about social media there for a second, just to take a quick diversion onto that. What does your social media look like? What platforms are you on? How do you manage it? What's your approach?
So I'm not the most technically gifted person, but I use Instagram, I use LinkedIn, I use TikTok, I use Facebook. I'm not going to say too much, but honestly, social media is so often overlooked, but it is the way forward, especially if you're wanting to thrive and change the game in the property industry. I often post reels of myself introducing a home, 30-second long. I'm very enthusiastic. I really want to get my client's house sold. People can see through me. People are not stupid. Any viewers can see that I'm trying my best for my client's home. I'm getting the exposure out there, etc.
The thing is, everybody's everywhere. People go social media, but everyone's on Facebook. There's different target demographic for different things. But TikTok, when it started, I wanted nothing to do with it because I thought it was like teenagers and stuff like that.
Are you on it?
I am, yeah. I now post a lot more.
She says reluctantly, you rolled her eyes as she said it.
It's just because there's so much to do. And there's always now there's threads, the Instagram spin off, and there's just always something, and you can't keep going. You can't have 10 different things. So you need to choose what you want to do. But TikTok, doctors and everybody's on it now. So you can't really not be on it.
Absolutely.
So, and that's just proving your point.
Honestly, it's me and you could walk into a valuation tomorrow and we know what we've done in the market. We've sold some of the hottest properties, some of the most expensive properties. We've dealt with the most high-end clientele, and we stand out in that sense from the rest of our local agents. But it's not something we're going to boast about. We're not here to put other people down. We're here to talk to the client about what we offer. But let's say Mr. Smith, for example, went to value whatever property after we valued it, and we said to them that we can offer you this, social media. That end user doesn't understand social media. Mr. Smith's come in after us to say he offers social media content too. But it's not about that. It's about who you're connected with already, what you've done already from social media. What are those examples? How can you prove that's actually effective? What have you got from it previously? And we've got that. That's what we offer. So it's quite a big thing.
Sounds like quite a big thing.
Yeah.
Just to go tactical for a second, do you post the same thing across all those platforms, or do you do different things?
So I post the same video on all of the platforms. The only difference is on each platform is I change the music, because on some platforms they've got copyright restrictions, so you have to change the audio, and that's about it. I always make sure that I've got social content ready for before I'm launching a property. A week before the property gets launched, there's a whole build up to it, and in the background I'll do other marketing strategies as well. So before it even hits the market, chances are I've already got 2 or 3 offers on it.
From socials?
Yeah, from socials. 2 years ago, I'm not going to expose the address, but there was this property that I listed it, and it was beautiful. It was a very premium, a bespoke build kind of property. He brought it as a bungalow. He made it into 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 2 walk-in closets, open plan, just beautiful, underfloor heating, really modern. Put that on. I launched it at offers over $1 million or something like that. And he always said to me, Alia, I want 1.2 million. And I said to him, trust me, I will get you your 1.2 million. It's just that on this road, it has a ceiling. So I need to launch it at a sensible price that just gets the footfall in. So we've done about 17 viewings on the first day of viewings after it was launched. And I've sold it 200 grand over the asking price at 1.2. That buyer didn't come from Rightmove. He didn't come from the company I used to work with and partner with. He came from my social media, and his daughter outright said, I only showed my dad this property because for me and my sister, we need a walk-in closet each and an ensuite each.
You know what's funny is that I had something like that from TikTok where it was somebody, a child, but the parents were looking to buy. So she saw it and she's like, Mom, look at this amazing house. And they came to see it. So sometimes it's not directly the person, it's the kids, or it's, you never know who's watching.
Yeah. David, keep your kids off social media. That's the lesson.
It sounds expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're buying a £2 million house now.
Yeah. And so just something you said there, it's about launch. Do you have like a launch strategy for properties? I'm guessing from what you said there's a bit of pre-launch activity and build up that goes on before the property goes live on the websites and so on. So what does it look like?
So from the minute that I go in for the valuation, I've already started speaking to clients, not about exact property, but just about the locality of where I've just been to value a home. Even if I've got 10 valuations booked on the day, which I never will, but if I did, I still find the time to do that, because there's no point you working so hard to win that instruction if you know you've got no buyers for it. What's the point? You know you want to market it, but I want to get a feel for this house before I list it. I don't want to go listing a house that I know is going to be stagnant and no one's even going to come and view it. It's a waste of the client's time and mine. I might not be the right agent, because I'm not saying I'm perfect for every single house and locality. So yeah, first thing I do when I leave the valuation is I discuss where I've just been. Is this something you'd be interested in? This is the price, the plot size, bedroom to bathrooms, blah, blah, blah. They will respond most likely with, yes, it sounds amazing. Send me the details when ready. I ring the client with valuation figures and I say, do you mind, I'm no rush, and I know you said you want to take your time, but do you mind just discussing this with your family overnight or over the weekend? Come back to me on Monday. Let me know if you want to do some viewings or, get your property marketed and we start showing my existing buyers your home. And then on top of that, when they do instruct me, I give them a whole checklist. So it's got it must have 40 something tick boxes on it. I give them this checklist. That's everything that I'm going to be doing for them. So as each day goes by, they're not sitting there bored. They've got a whole checklist to say, she's done that, she's done that, she's done this.
So just go into detail on this checklist for a second.
Yeah,
I like
that. Yeah. Well, okay, so that is all the things you're going to do and when you're going to do it, so that they can. Is it like setting their expectations of what you're doing, or is it like fee management as well, that this demonstrates what you do for your fee? Like, how does that document work for you?
The reason I do that is I haven't got anything to prove. I think clients know from the moment I walk in that I'm not like any other agent. I'm not just there to hit my stats for the month and say, oh yeah, I got this listing and stick it on my social media and get more followings. I'm not interested. The reason why I do that is because I want to give my client confidence. Oh, my estate agent's gone quiet. I wonder what's happened. And I've not gone quiet, but some clients, if you've not spoke to them for one day, they start panicking. Yeah. And I do have a number of clients like that, and I love them to bits, but they have this checklist which will give them reassurances that, oh, actually, she's done this, she's done that. That means this is coming next. So they know what to expect. They're not going in blind, because most of these people in the premium property sector, they've been living there for 30, 40 years. They're elderly, or, it could be a part of an estate. It could be a probate property. They've got so many other estates or, things to sell, or they're grieving. Give them some space, give them some comfort in knowing that, okay, this is what our estate agent is doing. This is how she's doing everything she can to maximize.
Yeah.
So this is why I do the checklist, is to make sure that client has comfort in knowing that this is where my estate agent is at. This is how she's going to maximize. The other agent said they could do this for me, but she's given me a checklist which shows me what I'm paying her extra for, which is XYZ.
Yeah.
So it works.
It also helps with price reductions. Sometimes we get it wrong, right? As
Yeah.
agents, sometimes we think it's really priced right and it should sell, and the market just doesn't see the value. If your vendor knows you've done all these things and you say, guys, we need to, it's time, we need to reduce the price, they're not fighting you on it because they know you've done everything possible in the first place and they trust you.
100%.
So it just makes it so much easier, the whole management process.
100%. It definitely helps because none of us want a client ringing us and saying, you've had our house for 4 weeks now. We've not had that many viewings, or you've had viewings, but you've not had that many offers. We're not getting the offers that we wanted. But having that checklist is going to prevent that phone call because they're going to see quite clearly Marie or Alia, they've done everything humanly possible. There's nothing possibly wrong here. It must be the price.
I think that's also the difference between losing listings and not losing listings, because agents who after 4 or 6 weeks or whatever, they change estate agencies, is because the vendor thinks that there's another agent who's going to do something better. If you can show them that no other agent can do anything more than we're currently doing, so there's 3 reasons it doesn't sell: price, presentation, marketing, exposure. Like, you agree, Mr. Vendor, your house looks amazing. You agree, Mr. Vendor, we've done everything in our possibility to expose it to the widest audience. It's the price. So they'll never actually leave you because it doesn't matter why it's not selling. They trust you fully. So you won't lose the listing. You won't lose your vendor. You'll end up selling it and they'll just trust you more. So I quite like the checklist. I might steal that from you.
Yeah.
I don't have it like per se. I do, my vendors, I keep them up to date with stuff, but I quite like having the actual checklist.
It would save a lot of phone calls, a lot of unnecessary panicking. It just saves you a lot of time. It's not to say we don't have time for clients. It's just to say we don't want them to even spend 1 second panicking about where they are or why the house is not selling. It just gives them that reassurance.
And sorry, this is really. Do you print it out, send it to them electronically? I'm getting really technical, I know.
I do print it out. I print it out and highlight it, and I colour code stages. So each number, like set up a group chat or book in photography or whatever, it's all under the same kind of level. So there's 3 levels of the marketing, and as soon as you get to that 3rd level, it's telling you that time is running out. Something's wrong.
You're making me feel so bad about how I deal with stuff. I'm like, I'm not that organized.
Oh no, I'm going to send it to you.
Well, I was going to say, if you could send it to both of us, then what I'll do is I'll get it designed up in by design colours as well, and then everyone can use it.
Yeah,
That's okay.
that'd
That sounds
be
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so changing the subject completely now, if that's okay. So just before our podcast now, Marie and I sat down with Simon Ledbetter and we were going through, he does a big survey, The Voice of the Agent, and it covers lots of different subjects around the property market, like prop tech and fees and prices and all the rest of it. One thing it gets into is about discrimination. And it's kind of frightening how much of that goes on. And there's a big sample set. There's like 880 or so, I think, estate agents that answer this survey. And it's done anonymously so that they are kind of protected and they can speak their mind a little bit, if that makes sense. But it was astonishing how much goes on generally. And then I think the thing that's come out of that very acutely is from women in estate agency and how much goes on there. And the stats were, it was
disproportionate, like completely.
Yeah, disproportionate is
ridiculous.
probably putting it quite politely as well. Like, what's been your experience of that, of being discriminated against on kind of any count, really? Because in the report it does go through, there's loads of different ways it can happen. It could be just general, it could be age, it could be disability, it could be ethnicity, it could be gender, it could be sexuality, it could be anything. What's been your experience of that?
So without saying too much, but I will say a lot on it because I'm very passionate about it. I have always been an advocate in supporting women who are struggling, women who are brought down. No, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't wear this and you can't wear that, you can't go to this college, you can't study this degree even though you really want to. Like, I just don't get it. I hate it when someone has power over an individual. It really, really disturbs me. So I try everything I can to help people in that situation. So I love this topic. Before I joined a estate agency, I never once, honestly, so I'm Pakistani, that's my heritage. And where I live in Leicestershire is it's not massively multicultural, but it is in a way. But it's also got a lot of private schools. It's just a really incredible area. Now, I've never had racism. I've never suffered from any discrimination cases. Okay, when I was in primary school, I got bullied, like everyone does, whatever. But yeah, so when I left the previous company I was working with, that's when I started to get ageism, sexism, racism, discrimination comments. And honestly, every time, even to this point today, to this second today, I'll get a phone call. This has been said, or yeah, someone rang me and said X, Y, Z. And these are clients who I'm selling luxury homes for. They're getting phone calls saying that, you know, Alia doesn't know anything. She's got no experience. She's a little girl. Ageism and sexism in one statement. She doesn't have the clients for you. She's not going to be able to provide the same marketing. Even though I'm using one of the UK's #1 photographers, and I've not compromised on quality. I made sure to replicate all of the same marketing in the sense that my clients are still maximizing and they're still getting that international exposure, social media content, lots of attention given on each listing, etc. Anyway, all these things get said. Client turns around to person who's saying this and says, well, if she's so bad, why did you have her on for so many years? Why was she dealing with the whole of Leicestershire? Why was she given a partner position to deal with clients on a one-to-one basis at £2 million properties? Why this? Why that? And then said person continued to do the same thing to this day to all of the clients who are listing homes with me, buyers as well. And it's just something that it's got me a lot more listings, guys. It's got me so many listings.
Turn it around.
Like,
the
honestly,
pettiness.
like I've got so many listings now where I'm like, I've had to stop the listings for the month. I've just got too much on. So in a way, thank you so much, because I love how busy and how much publicity I've received for my business.
It's funny, because if you were a man, would you have had any of that? Maybe, but to that extent? No. Probably not.
No, yeah, you're right.
Like, it's worse because you're a woman.
Yeah.
Because it's an easier target.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you would have had that much if you were a man.
There is a man, let me give you an example. So there's a man, he's slightly younger than I am. So I'm 26. This chap must be about 23, 24. Really, really nice guy. Indian, Asian as well. And he had an encounter with this person I'm referring to, and left the company after a really long time. That person supported him. He went to his office opening. He went to the launch party. He gave him flowers and alcohol. I started my own thing, and and I got so much
hate
shit for it. Yeah. I got roasted. So
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, it's made me really successful. It really has. As you said, David, I started 4 or 5 weeks ago, and look where we are now. Most of it is because the clients can obviously see that they're working with a genuine person, but some of it's because my name's been mentioned and they thought, oh, she's left, let me give her a call then. So it's like they've done me a favor, so it's fine. You have to think of these things from a very positive perspective, because if you don't, it will drive you mental. Whatever you do in life, business, any life decision, there's always going to be someone in the background giving you shit for that. And it's just how you need to look at your own lane, stay focused, keep going, just do amazing things, get amazing results, create that great reputation, and the rest of it will be history.
What's the saying that you said?
I actually nicked this off of
Yeah.
Adam, who
I love
runs
that.
Buy Design in Lincolnshire. It says, winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners.
Yeah.
And there's I don't know if you've ever seen it, there's like a photo, it was an Olympic Games or something, and it's in a swimming race. And there's whoever the swimmer is out in front, and there's someone else looking at the person who's out in front, but the person who's out in front is just looking dead ahead at winning. And there's kind of a meme that goes with it. But 100% think that's the case. Focus on you do you and do it really well.
Since I started my new business, a lot of people have reached out to me from the industry, agents who have been around for 40, 50 years and passed down from generation to generation, which I love, and they want to collaborate. Not collaborate in the sense that we'll do a dual agency, because I will not do dual agencies. I will only do sole. But they want to collaborate in the sense that if they send this buyer to me, what am I going to give to them in return? Am I going to be giving them, commercial properties? Am I going to be recommending them as lettings managers, or all the rest of it? So I love this whole idea of collaboration, and I just think that there is so much out there. There's so much property, so much clientele. They are not buying into my brand, they're buying into me as a person. So whenever I see agents, and I'm not just referring to one person at this point, I'm referring to the whole industry. Whenever I see agents putting other agents down, going to evaluation, saying, who else has been to the property to value it? What did they have to say? What did they value it at? In that tone, in that manner, there is no need for it. That homeowner has invited people to their home as free will. They're allowed to do whatever they want. They can have 10 valuations. It doesn't mean they're using 10 agents. They're just trying to get an idea. Why are we going in and saying this agent has done this, or this agent has overvalued this house, or da-da-da-da-da? Just talk about what you want to do for them. Make them believe and buy into you. Why do we need to talk about other people and put their businesses down? So that's a huge reason as well why I'm doing my own thing, because there were people, it's whatever company you're working in, you're not going to be the only person that's in that company unless you have your own business. You're going to be associated with people who are going into appointments. You have no idea what they're saying, how they're coming across. A lot of people have got this bad habit of slating, and it's just, that's what creates this unethical reputation.
It's just not professional, is it?
There's a saying that collaboration happens at the top, competition happens at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I really think that's true.
When you look at the other countries, yes, there's healthy competition, but they do collaborate a lot more. Buyer agents, seller agents, Australia, Canada, America. And I think, I've always said this as well, there's enough business for everyone.
Yeah.
Why are we so hell-bent on slating other people?
Yeah.
And vendors, they read that though, because I've been to some valuations and the agent goes, oh, I've had other people. And I'm like, oh, how did that go? Is there any questions they didn't answer that you want me to answer? And they go, no, but they were talking badly about everybody else, so I'm not going to use them. Like it just shows the type of people they are, and vendors don't want to work with them.
Absolutely.
So, just like you said, just do you, stick to what you're doing, let the others do, there's enough business for everyone.
Absolutely. There really is. And the thing is like, you could have 10 listings on now. I have 10 listings on now. What happens after those 10 listings? We've not just listed 10 properties for listings. We've listed it to create, first of all, to sell the houses and be with them on that journey and maximize. But we've listed them so we can then become agents that operate via word of mouth. We'll be recommended. People will go on Facebook group chats, and all these group chats we're not a part of because we're estate agents. They'll be like, we're thinking about selling. Who should we go to? 2 of our vendors are going to comment on there and recommend us. So doing good, only good will come to you. 100%. I live by it. And yeah, I just don't believe in slating the competitors. I don't think we have competitors. I think the reason why we've created our own business is because we have a unique selling point. We're here because we want to do things differently. We do not need to go into competition. We go into it thinking we're here to make a difference and we're going to do amazing.
As long as you can make that difference, so we were talking about that in the last podcast with Simon, is that you want to create your own little cheerleaders who will always use you for the next 20, 30 years. They will tell their friends and family, you have to use, X, Y, Z. You cannot use anybody else. That's the whole point of being a self-employed agent, is to give such good level of service that they will always come back to you and always recommend you. And then you've got that word of mouth that just keeps coming.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's where I'm getting at the moment because of the slating that gets done to my name. Yeah. They're not slating my brand. They're not slating by design. They're slating Alia Khan. But all that's doing is it's making that person go on Instagram or go on Google and dial the number.
Why is she so important?
Yeah, and they dial the number and they realize, oh, that's why she's important, because she actually knows what she's talking about.
I love that it backfired.
I know.
On said person.
Yeah. The more they do it, the better it is for you. One last question on that. Tell me about the for sale board.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I was trying not to mention this today, but since you asked,
I was wondering if you were gonna.
so there was.
So just to say, Marie knows about this because you and I happened to be on the phone, Marie, when you
Yeah.
sent me the photo of this. But so sorry, I'll
But
stop
I think I spoke to Marie as well.
Oh, I
afterwards.
texted you right after. our
Yeah.
phone.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
Utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, I loved it, but it was just so supportive. I think what got me through it.
So what happened, first of all, for
Okay.
anyone listening that doesn't know what we're talking about?
So what happened was one day on a sunny weekday.
Painting the picture.
On a sunny weekday, I get a phone call from a number that I've never seen before. It wasn't saved on my phone. I've missed the call because I was in an appointment. Listened to the voicemail. Oh, Alia, I've just seen your number and your name on this on this for sale sign somewhere in Leicestershire. And it's got a racist comment on it. I think it's racist anyway, but I'd rather not repeat it. Can you drive here and check for yourself? And then I rang him. He didn't answer, and I got
Who did you ring?
the guy who left me the voicemail
right.
to give me this information.
Yeah.
I panicked so much. Honestly, guys, I panicked so much because I was like, especially when you've never encountered racism, you don't know how to deal with it. You don't know how to take it. You don't know, like, should I take this as it's normal? Because it happens to a lot of people. Or should I do something about this? I genuinely panicked. And it was my business too. It's my vendors who are going to look silly too.
Yeah.
So I've gone outside the property. It's a massive gated property. It's a private road as well. And someone's written Muslims only with a smiley face on my for sale sign. And just a few days before, my clients were asked, did you choose Alia because, you're within the same
Community.
I don't want to say it, but yeah, same community. And it's not that we're in the same community. It's, my dad was in a certain industry that they used to work in. So we've known each other for donkey's years, but it's just naturally because of the industry my dad used to be in. And yes, so that comment happened after those words were said on the phone. So I didn't know what to make of it. And there was nothing I could do about it apart from, move on. But 6 years doing what I'm doing now and having my for sale sign everywhere, in all parts of Leicestershire, in the most isolated parts of Leicestershire, where there's no cameras, there's no people, there's only one house in the middle of the road, no one even lives in it, and it's a passing road into a lot of villages. No one's ever stopped their car and put anything on my board, not even a mustache on my face, nothing. And then all of a sudden, I've started my own venture, and there's a racist comment on my board.
How did you feel when you saw it?
Oh, I was panicking. I was really upset. I was disappointed. I was disgusted. I was genuinely disgusted. I just thought, for a competitor to stoop that low, number one, I did take it as a compliment. I'm not that much of a wuss, shall I say, that I'm going to sit there and cry instead of, make me stronger. I didn't do that at all. I looked at it and I thought, I'm making a real difference. I'm doing something. That's why this is happening to me. I'm a threat. So I looked at it for a second and I actually smiled and I thought, look at my achievement.
The saying is, if you ruffle feathers, it means you're doing something right.
Exactly. And then, and it was just really shocking. And it just made me, on one hand, I wanted to contact the individual and I did want to say, we should be a bit more professional here. There's enough business for everyone. But then I thought, why am I going to teach someone how to be a moral person, how to have principles? If someone doesn't have principles, why do we need to have a conversation? If someone wants to discriminate against me and try to jeopardize my client's sales, that's up to them. I don't need to pick up the phone. If something doesn't give me peace, I cut it off. And that's personally and professionally in all aspects of life. And that's exactly what I did. And I just walked away. My clients were absolutely horrified.
Yeah, I
we
can
got
imagine.
the for sale, honestly, they were. We got the for sale sign replaced as well. But yeah, it gave me a lot of publicity, mind you.
Yeah.
Because that for sale sign, someone took a picture of it and put it on the ODB group chat on Facebook. The amount of phone calls I received for evaluation. So I just thought,
Love it. I love how it's backfired twice on him now.
it was amazing. It was amazing. Other than that, it was very upsetting, but yeah, it just means I'm making a difference.
Just stoop so low though, isn't it?
Yeah, that it goes back to what we were saying. There's enough business for everyone. We're all in the industry because we've got a unique selling point. Who is that person or this person to say to us, you can't list this, I'm going to ring your vendor and I'm going to slate your name? Who are they to do that?
Yeah, but karma is a bitch.
Yeah.
It will come back. And, you know, if said person is acting like that, it will come back on him. And
Absolutely.
so, you know, I like how you just take the high road, you do you, you've gotten listings out of it, you've gotten business out of it. Then, you know, I guess he did you a favor.
Yeah, absolutely. He or she.
I mean, we've said he a few times. I think he, she,
That's really
it,
funny.
maybe. They.
Yeah, it's just it's a huge shame because you do a lot and you put a lot of time into, you know, these listings. It's not just me going to a client's house and overvaluing a house and giving really low fees and taking photos on my mobile phone. I've invested hours and hours. In fact, this particular property, I was speaking to them for 4 years. I didn't get the instruction because I sold how amazing I was. I got the instruction because of the rapport we built and because of how comfortable they were talking to me, because we've really got to know each other. So yes, it's insulting when a competitor tries to jeopardize a sale that you've listed just because they feel they should have listed it. It's very insulting because it's insulting to me because I'm a professional and I'm just here trying to do my job for my business. It's insulting to the vendor because they live in a premium property for a very good reason. They've set up businesses. They are clever enough to know who they're instructing, to know what they're doing. They don't need to be receiving phone calls being told X, Y, Z. It's just bitter and it makes the industry look so stupid.
Just doesn't help our image of
Yeah.
people hating estate agents.
Yeah,
That's it. They use it to your advantage.
yeah.
My last serious question, changing the subject again, is that you said that you've got someone who's like, I don't know the best way to describe this really, but you've got someone who's documenting you. Someone who's doing social media. So talk to us about that, because that's quite unusual.
So it's because I'm super interesting. I'm only joking. It's because, you know, when I go to these listings or, you know, a day in the life of an agent, I don't want it to be staged. I don't want it to be like, you know, come over here. I'm just about to make myself a cup of coffee. Let me just flex my muscles a little bit, you know, whatever. I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be like, can you follow me? We're going to photograph this property today. The property's already ready to be shot today, so you might as well follow us around. He'll photograph, you know, Dream Home doing some behind the scenes, which is our photographer. Or he'll photograph me outside and I'll have a power shot outside the property. And the reason I do that, going back to social media, I'm not here to get famous off of listings. The reason why I will have my face on that property, the biggest reason, is because people interact with people. When they see me, when they listen to me, they might absolutely hate me, you know. Well, I'm sure they won't, or they could really relate to me and they might listen to me and think, actually, she knows what she's talking about. I love the way she's presented that property. I feel like I know her already. I know her wardrobe already. I hear that comment all the time, by the way. I know her wardrobe. So they'll follow the mobile number at the end of the video. They already know who I am. I'm going to value their house, sell that, and I'm also going to sell them a property. That's why I do it. So we need to go back to the social media guy. So the social media guy, he does little snippets of me. So I'll be like, guys, I'm outside this amazing property. It offers X, Y, Z. Contact me on the details to follow. He does all this lovely editing. He also has some drone skills. So we're working on a few neighborhoods at the moment because clients love to see drone shots of their villages. They hang them up in frames and everything.
Yeah.
So we're just giving these out complimentary. And they're not on postcards with my branding. They don't even have my branding on. It's
That's
just
so important though, not to have the branding on something like that. Yeah.
They're just having large drone shots of their villages, of the local church, or, you know, something really beautiful and historical. And they're just hanging them up in a frame in the hallway. It's lovely.
But I love that. That's like having someone document you day in the life like a behind the scenes of the behind the scenes somehow is really, really good. Yeah, I'm interested to see how that works out.
Yeah,
It's
I think
nice
it's a great
though when
idea.
people like know you already, because then you almost win that valuation before you even step foot in the door, because they feel like they know. I mean, the first time I met you, I remember going, "Oh, nice to see you," and you went, "No, it's the first time we've met." And I went, "Oh,
Happens
really?"
all the time this day and age.
You
isn't
know,
it? It's
it
crazy.
was because we had spoken so much on Zoom and the phone, and you see each other on social media, and you feel like you know the person. So as soon as you step into that valuation, that rapport that people from corporate brands work so hard to try and build right from the door, we've already built like weeks and weeks and sometimes years in advance. So I think that's super important to have your face in, because it's you that you're selling, people buying to you.
Absolutely. And going on to that, how people buy onto you, I do also feel like when you're going to a premium property, there is a way to behave. And Marie, you're laughing, like, you know what I'm referring to. Like, there's a lot of agents out there that they just make fake promises, and they'll go to film a property, and I mean, okay, I'm not going to mention any names, and this is here in London actually. It happened a couple of years ago. Someone got instructed as an agent, and the client didn't obviously know who they're dealing with. They were just this high-end individual. They didn't have time to focus on the sale of their home. They just trusted an agent with the key, with the property filming, and that was it. The agent got into swimwear and jumped into the pool. Straight away, the client saw this video and disinstructed them. And there's a way to sell premium homes in a sophisticated way.
In a professional way.
And if you're going to do that, ask first.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
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 Right, so our last question is a ridiculous one, and you may or may not know, but we have a closing tradition on this podcast where we ask every one of our guests what their porn star name is, because know it or not, everyone has a porn star name, and it's made up of your middle name and your first pet's name. The silence is building tension.
So my middle name is Safa.
Yeah.
My first cat's name was Tiger.
That's pretty good.
Safa Tiger.
So
Tiger.
Safa.
Safa Tiger.
Yeah. Safa Tiger.
That's pretty good. Unfortunately, Matt Gigg still has the #1 spot with Kevin Tiny as his porn star.
Oh
name.
wow.
My French one isn't winning.
Still not. What was it? Oh yeah, what was yours again?
I can't even remember, you know.
Oh, but there you go.
Oh, Pierre Raffi.
Yeah, because I can't say it.
Oh, that sounds nice. That sounds lovely.
Yeah, but it sounds
Yeah,
nice.
Kevin Tiny is better.
You can't remember it though.
No, I know.
Like, I wouldn't be able to call you for a valuation, but with that name.
This is why I don't go by my full name, because my full name is Marie-Pierre. And can you imagine people trying to say that over the phone? Which is why I go by Marie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We discovered that earlier when I tried to say Bernard. So it's really, like, I've really enjoyed this conversation. And remember, I was trying to work out why I thought that you two would get along so well. And I kind of think I've realised why. And it's because you share a very similar mindset, this sort of unstoppable mindset. We have this running joke that I've got this hashtag Marie mindset thing when you post something. That's like the way of thinking. And I think that you both seem to have that absolutely unstoppable mindset. And I think it's awesome. I think you're both going to do absolutely incredible things. And I love working with you both, I have to say.
Absolutely. I love working with you both, but Marie, you mostly, because
I won't take it personally.
just because every day the life of an agent is just, honestly, David, it's so challenging. It's like I could pick up the phone, I could message Marie, or I could ring her, and we just relate straight away and just support each other, and it makes a huge difference.
Perfect.
Being part of a big company and picking the phone up and ringing one of your colleagues and saying, I'm having such a bad day, this has happened or this has happened, they will just give you all of the wrong advice because they want to do exactly what you're doing. So they want you to go wrong, basically. Whereas ringing each other, it's like we're business owners, we just want to see each other grow.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
Collaboration happens at the top.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about the discrimination and stuff like that? When you said in the beginning that you were seen as overachiever, overzealous, it's such a difficult thing, because as a woman, if we are for lack of a better term, like boss bitch, right? You're seen as, oh, she's trying too hard, or overzealous, or, you know, she has kids and stuff. She can't do it. That she can't do all of it. I think you have that extra pressure on you that people go, well, maybe you shouldn't be so intense with it. But I like that you're kind of going, screw everybody. I know what I want. I know the business I want to create. And sometimes you just have to work a little bit harder as a woman for that. But yeah, if you need anything, gotcha.
Yeah.
But the next 6 years have been as good as the last 6 weeks have been, then I think we're on to something good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gone really well. It's successful. There's been days where I thought, have I got this? Can I really do this? But then the only reasons that I was probably thinking like that was, like you say, Marie, there's so many people out there that, my God, they're just so nasty. And I'm not going to pick on the gender, but I think we can all guess. Like, it's just when it comes to women, as soon as they know you're a woman, oh my God, they tear you to shreds. So it's just sometimes, and I hate to make it all gender focused again, but sometimes it's better to work with a woman because we've put up with so much. We know how to manage people. Whereas if you're dealing with a man who's, they do have it really easy, most of them, especially in the industry, things just come to them because they're a man. In the previous company I worked with, I had a lot of clients who wouldn't instruct me because I was a woman. And they'd go to my director and say, we're going to work with you because you're a man. And it was absolutely shocking. It was shocking.
Yeah.
And then in the end, said person couldn't sell the property because they weren't a salesperson. So it'd come back to me anyway, and I'd be selling it and negotiating it and handing the keys over. So there's a lot to be said for women who go through that. It just makes us stronger and makes us perform better.
Well, there's a saying that cream rises to the top.
Yeah.
And I think that's certainly what you're doing.
Yeah.
So, Alia, thank you so much for joining
Thank
us
you.
as our guest, our star today. Really appreciate it. And thank you for listening to or watching this episode of Property-Pxrn Stars. Really hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe for all the episodes to be downloaded straight to your phone. And we'll see you in the next episode.